I was 18 when I went for my first radio audition, and then I got called back. I parallelly wanted to become an economist. I'm a real economics nerd.
That's something I didn't know.
And I applied to this MBA school in Hyderabad. I got a rejection letter. Simultaneously, I got an offer from Dubai to join a radio station here. I just got to a point in my radio career. What next? How am I going to be excited about meeting Salman Khan again? I think I've got to step away, but it's got to be for something that I really, really believe in. Next thing you knew, I was owning a business. I tried to do both for 2 years, and then I realized that no, the Hive deserves both hands and all of my heart. My superpower would be to just shut up every once in a while and listen. I struggle with that.
Our kids are growing in a bubble.
I asked the kids, what do you know about partition? These are all Indian kids, yeah? They didn't know anything. We don't tell our children about our own family's histories. Ask for help. Reach out. There's a community of women who will jump to help you if you just ask. Don't presume that you're not going to get help.
Welcome to Women of Wonder by Reema Mahajan, or Wow Women as we lovingly call it. This is our initiative to bring to you journeys of empowered and ambitious women so that we can all take inspiration from them. I'm your host Reema, and I have a very special guest with me. She's not only a guest, she's a friend of mine. She is an ex-radio jockey, but now runs the world of children, teaching them public speaking, drama, and a lot more at her venture, The Hive. She also is a fitness enthusiast and has done some of the most wondrous treks that we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the show, Malavika.
Thank you so much for having me, Reema, and congratulations on your lovely podcast.
We'd love to know your journey. How did radio jockeying happen?
Okay, radio jockeying happened to me because I was on the culture circuit. I was doing a lot of theatre in college. I was always really interested in public speaking. Radio was a very large part of my growing up as well. My mum used to listen to Radio Salon in the kitchen, and we used to listen to World Space Radio, and there was always that sound of radio in the background. So when licenses came out, when private licenses were launched in India, and they started auditioning people, they looked in the theatre world, and I did an audition and I landed a job, and I was doing college and radio side by side. So I'd wake up, go to college, finish my 8 hours of college, come to the radio station, finish my 8-hour workday, and then go back home at midnight. And I continued doing that. Of course, I parallelly wanted to become an economist. I'm a real economics nerd.
Oh my God, that's something I didn't know.
I love maths and statistics.
Brilliant.
I got 100 on 100 in my econometrics and graduation. So I was all intent on doing an MBA. And I applied to this MBA school in Hyderabad. And I just presumed I was going to get in. I was like, of course they're going to take me, right? Why would you take me? And then I got a rejection letter. And simultaneously, I got an offer from Dubai to join a radio station here. And I was like, you know what? I'm breaking up with economics before economics breaks up with me.
And sometimes rejections are good, right?
Yeah. And look how it all turns out. I came to Dubai, started with the weekend morning show, then moved to the late night show, then moved to breakfast, and then did it for 12 years. And now, as I run my business, all those economics, all those graphs, all that maths, all that accounting is coming right back into my world.
Yeah, the world of Excel spreadsheets and analyzing your numbers and revenues and costs.
And P&L, and oh my God, tell me all about it.
You've got the skill set. There you go.
Thank
So,
you.
radio happened for 12 years. I'm sure like theatre and radio have been a part of your life. How did entrepreneurship come into being?
Great story, actually. So I'd been doing radio for a really long time, and anybody who's worked at ARN will tell you it's a great place to work. I mean, you get stable pay, you got all the fame in the world, your name can open doors, you get constant adulation. You're always being told like, hey, you made my morning and thank you for the president. It's a world that's really addictive because it's so amazing, right? But I think I just got to a point in my radio career where I was like, okay, but what next? I mean, how am I going to be excited about meeting Salman Khan again? And I think there was a point where I said, okay, I think I've got to step away, but it's got to be for something that I really, really believe in. Simultaneously, I'd been teaching at the Hive for a few hours every week, and the friends of mine who used to run the Hive got their PR in Canada. So all of this sort of aligned at the same time, and I very daringly sort of put my hand up and said, hey, listen, I might want to buy the business. Like, how does this work? And then we sat and ran some numbers, and we had some negotiations, and next thing you knew, I was owning a business. And I tried to do both for 2 years, and then I realized that no, the Hive deserves both hands and all of my heart. I can't possibly be managing a full-time radio career on breakfast and be doing the Hive at the same time. So I was like, okay, got to pick. Obviously, the Hive has my heart. It's my baby. So I'm going to stick with that.
You touch more than 500 kids and teens coming to your institute every week.
Yeah, 1,000. As if-
1,000? Oh, brilliant.
1,000 as of this term.
What does it feel like? How does your day finish when you've touched so many lives every day?
I cannot think of a more fulfilling job. I cannot, Reema. It is an absolute godsend. My work is where I feel fully alive. No matter how my day is going, no matter how many fights I've had, no matter what other challenges I'm going through, when I walk into a classroom and I see my kids, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that to me is the most valuable thing in the world. For me, it's yes, it is about money. Yes, it is about profitability. Yes, it is about having a nice house and a nice car. But if I'm not aligned with my work, if I don't understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, if not every cell in my body is not in alignment with the work, I just don't feel like I'm being true to myself. And I think the Hive is a fabulous venture. If I wasn't running it, I'd want to run it. It's one of those places where kids come in and they feel alive. They feel like they have a home. I've seen the work that we do change the kids that walk into the room. And that to me is just priceless. It's just priceless. It's just priceless.
It's beautiful and the impact is so real, isn't it?
It is, Yarima. Like kids nowadays, they're really struggling. And I don't know if parents fully understand where they're coming from. They're locked in this world of devices, a lack of social connection. They want to say so much to the world, but they're not able to find the words. They feel constantly judged. It's difficult to live your life on Instagram where everyone somehow looks like the Kardashians and you don't. I mean, I was a really awkward teenager. I can't imagine what life would have been like if a camera was stuck in my face 24 hours a day. Everybody seems to have it figured out. You walk into your kids' schools nowadays and someone's applying for Harvard and someone's going to Yale and everyone seems to have it figured out. And there's so much of expectation on kids to give them that ability to know that their stories matter, that they are seen and heard, that their voices mean something in the world, and that they can, if they choose to, make an impact in a way that they so desire. Like, that is a magic wand.
Absolutely.
That's a magic wand. And it's the only thing I think is worth investing in is in education and experience. Like your bigger car and your nicer house is not going to get your kids as far as an education and experiences.
And it makes the kids more happier.
Absolutely.
Genuinely happier, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I've seen your journey in the last few years since we've been talking, right? We've done some projects together also. And I've seen the Hive expanding from a particular station to JLT to now to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
What's coming next? What are the plans?
I think what's important to me is that we keep the quality of the Hive classroom the same no matter where we go. As our team grows, as an entrepreneur, I think one of the challenges for us is like, how do we make sure that every single kid feels like that same way about coming back to the Hive, where they run through the corridor and they burst the door open and they say, yay, we're back, summer holidays is finally over. That's the reaction I want from every single one of the kids. As long as I can keep that quality up, I mean, expansion is great, but not at the cost of my quality. So I think that is my number one priority right now. And sure, I would love to one day be able to create more spaces for kids to play and have social connections and build friends and, feel at home when they're not at home.
Brilliant. And I think quality rules. Quality is number one, right? But as an entrepreneur, you need to keep your entrepreneur hat up. You're running a business which you're very passionate about. And sometimes, passion doesn't meet money or making it financially sustainable, right? How do you juggle the two hats, basically? One is an entrepreneur who's very passionate. And then the second is let's make sense out of what we're doing.
Yeah. I think it's easy in Dubai to always feel like, but I'm not making enough money. Like I'm driving this car, but I could be driving that car. I live in a 2-bedroom, but I could be living in a villa. So there's always that sense of there's something shiny on the periphery. But to me, it's very clear that the work that we do, yes, it has to be profitable, but it has to be profitable so that we can touch more children. So that we can do more quality work, so that we can afford the kids the experiences that they so desire. Right now, I would love to put 300 of my students on a plane and take them off to Broadway to watch a show. I can't afford it right now, but I will. I'll get there.
Inshallah, one day for sure.
I'll get there. And I think that's important, right? To me, understanding why I do what I do. And yes, the numbers, running the numbers, and I'm learning every day. I've gotten help. I've gotten coaches. I've gotten people to sit me down and say, hey, Malavika, look, I mean, you might think you're running a great business, but here are some of the gaps and maybe you need a little help.
What's your first reaction?
I love feedback, Reema. I love feedback. I think one of the loneliest things about being an entrepreneur is there's nobody to tell you that you're messing up. And to me, the most valuable thing is to have somebody telling me, like, look, you're doing a decent job, but that part you could do better. And that's, I think, as long as you've got your ear open for feedback, there's infinite growth possibilities, right? So, yeah.
Brilliant. So feedback is very important. And I think there's another F associated with you, which is fitness. So let's talk about that. I've seen you as a fitness enthusiast. Sometimes I see your stories at gym in 8 in the morning. And I've seen you done a wonderful trek earlier this year. Tell us about that. Why did that happen? And how did you get that motivation to do it and be there? You know,
It's a
8
great
days.
story. It's a great
Yeah.
story. So my dad passed away in the year 2022 on the 1st of February. And my dad spent 25 years in a wheelchair. So when I was 9 years old, he had a paralytic stroke and he had lost movement in the right side of his body and his ability to speak. So I feel a lot of my life is the other half of my dad's life in a way. I speak all the time. He couldn't speak for 25 years. And I felt like the only way to really pay tribute to my dad was to do something that involved movement, that in a way was looking at the universe and saying, hey God, thanks for my legs, I appreciate that I have them. And so I was thinking about what I would do on the 1st of Feb. I didn't want to be sitting around a TV set and like just letting the day go by. And if you've lost someone who's so close to you, I think a lot of people would connect with that. That you need to kind of, I needed a channel for my grief, right? I wanted to do something with the grief. Like I needed to push it. I needed to move it. And so I thought, okay, chalo, nothing else. So let's climb a mountain. Okay, what's an available mountain? Kilimanjaro looks decent on the 1st of Feb. Let's go. And so I called up a friend and I said, hey, I want to climb Kilimanjaro. Can you put me onto someone? And connections happened. And the next thing you know, on the 31st of Jan, I was packing a backpack and I was up on this 8-day trek. I think there was no better way to pay tribute to my dad because he epitomizes perseverance and effort. The fact that you may not have legs, but I will push and I will keep trying and I will
Yes.
not give up. And until I reach my goal, God help me, I'm going to get there. So, yeah.
I'm sure the 8 days must be hard, right? Packing your bags, living out in the open, going to lose in the open,
Yeah.
not having baths probably.
Yeah.
How did you build that mental strength to go through it all? And did you ever feel like giving up during those 8 days? Did you ever want to turn back?
I don't think giving up is an option. I don't think giving up is an option. And I think I'm someone I persevere to a fault actually, and so no, giving up was not an option. But yeah, it was very uncomfortable because you don't have a bath and it's 8 days of like going in a chemical toilet in the middle of nowhere. And you've got to dispense with any idea that like I feel shy and all that because if you got to go, you got to go. There's a rock, just go. So yeah, very unladylike to say the least. But you know what? It was such an experience because I was surrounded by such amazing people who were all there for their own journeys to prove to themselves. And I really encourage women to do this. I feel like, especially Indian women, we rarely, even the most empowered, the most independent of us, really struggle to take a solo trip or to take a journey or to like take out 8 days and say, sorry kids, sorry husband, sorry life and family who depend on me, but this time it's about me. Get out of my way. So I think if there's one gift you can give yourself, it is
Yes.
the gift of your time
Yes.
and that feeling of doing something just for you, not for anybody else.
You've touched something very important because I work with women all the time, right? And one of the things women struggle with is prioritizing themselves. Because as an expat, housewife, wife, mother, the first thing comes is your husband goes to work, then your kids go to school, then your house gets all settled when you move to a new country. When you have a system everywhere else, that's when the women will step back and say, oh, let me find something to do for myself. And when they find something, they might have a passion, they don't persevere enough. Because success doesn't come in a day or a month. It takes years sometime for you to go out there, to be sustainable, to run a comfortable business. What's your message to all those ladies?
I think my message to them is, first of all, turn to your husbands and demand support. Because I assure you this, very, very few of your husbands are saying, oh, sorry, 4 o'clock, I can't do a meeting because I have to pick my kids up from school. That rarely happens, right? And I think what ends up happening is that in most families, especially in most expat Indian families in Dubai, the woman is the last priority. Your career is the last priority. Your needs are the last priority. And that's just, it cannot happen like that, right? And I think another thing that I'm very passionate about is about women taking control of their own finances, having their money in their control, controlling the narrative, controlling their investments, controlling what they do with their money, and not letting anyone else tell them that they can and cannot and should not do this or that. So I think a large part of having that money is having your own independent business and having your own independent work and your own ways of making and keeping and investing that money. And that is, to me, it's a non negotiable. So if someone has a problem with you doing a 9 a.m. meeting, or if someone has to drop your kids off to school or pack their dabba because you have a meeting, that should not be something that's up for negotiation. So don't take that back seat. Don't let anyone put you in that back seat,
And ask for help. And I think a lot of the times we don't ask for it, but if you tell your husband, can you come a bit early because I need to go to that meeting, most of the time they will say yes. Most of the husbands would want to cooperate, or your family will come as a backup for you. But women do not prioritize themselves enough to ask for that help.
Yeah, we almost sometimes presume that anyway nobody's going to help me.
Exactly.
Why ask? And I
Yeah.
think the other thing about women is we feel ki, why should I be asking? Why can't you see that I'm struggling and step in?
But that doesn't happen with the men, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think they think too straight to not understand that this is what she's going through, and this is when I need to step in emotionally. This is when I need to step in physically to help with kids, with family at home. So sometimes asking for that help and building that support system around you helps a lot, and the women can progress.
Oh, yes. And they can take the reign of control in their own hands and they can move this forward, and they absolutely should. It should be a non-negotiable.
Absolutely agree. It's lovely to talk about women, but let me get to know more about Malvika. So we're going to move on to our next section, which is called Direct Dil Se, which is our rapid fire round. And we have some very interesting questions, which you probably or hopefully haven't answered before.
Okay.
And let's get to know the other side of you. And very quick answers.
Done.
Okay. What's the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning?
Make myself chai or drink like a cold brew coffee before I go to the gym.
Really? What's the last thing you do before you go to bed?
I read a book.
And which is the current one you're reading?
So I've started, this is a collection of Indian writing. It's called Vintage Indian Writing from 1947 to 1997. So that's the book by my bedside right now.
Brilliant. What's the most challenging role that you've ever played or directed at the Hive?
Oh, wow. That's most challenging role. Okay, wow. That's a really interesting question. We recently did a play called The Boy at the Back of the Class, and it was about the migrant crisis and about the number of refugees who get on a boat and leave from Syria and go off to a place they've never seen in their lives to call it home. And that was a piece that really moved me. It's kept me up at night. So, yeah.
Brilliant. What's the most surprising or unexpected thing that you've ever learned or discovered?
Wow. I've learned and discovered about myself in communication and in relationships, and like how I get people to do what I need them to do. And I think watching yourself and growing up, really becoming an adult and understanding how you function in relationships is always a very interesting lesson for me.
Brilliant. And how do you get all the energy? Because every time I meet you, you're always chirpy, you're always full of energy, and you're always ready to talk. How does that happen? How does Malvika derive her internal energy?
I think my energy comes from the work that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the work that I do. I just, yesterday I did class at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I finished at 6 o'clock and I did 10 hours of teaching back to back. And at the end of that day, if you asked me to run a marathon, I would be like, yes, let's do it. Because just being in a class of young people just charges me up. Like it's like nothing else.
We can see you following your passion. What's the most fun or memorable event that you've ever attended or hosted?
The most memorable event I've ever attended, I think I'm a full-on Shah Rukh Khan fan. So every time I have met Shah Rukh Khan I just walk away from that room going, oh my God, I just love this human being. I feel like he's my best friend, but he doesn't know that he's my best friend. But eventually one day he's going to call me and say, hey, Malu, I'm moving into your place, yeah? So I'm just bringing my bags. I'll be there in half an hour. I really love Shah Rukh.
He's as charming as he looks, right, on TV. or
And
better
you
in
know what's
person.
great about him, Reema? What
Yeah.
every communicator and podcaster and entertainer should learn from him is how well he reads a room. He
Right.
can go into Meena Bazaar and do a road show, and
Mm-hmm.
he can go and talk at a commencement address at Harvard and be equally relevant and equally interesting. And the amazing thing about him is you'll talk to him for an hour, and then after that, you'll be like, sorry, what did he say? I don't know, but I was just so taken in by his charm. Like,
Yeah.
he's so amazing.
Oh, amazing. What's the most creative or innovative idea you've ever implemented or proposed?
I think the fact that I'm selling drama
Mm-hmm.
and drama lessons in a place that you would have not otherwise thought. It is a concrete jungle,
Yeah.
Dubai. And it's not the place that you would think that a culture business would work. And of all the work that one does in culture, you always think that theater people are like, jhola and chappal. But the fact that we are running an extremely profitable, great, good venture with heart in a concrete jungle, that's my innovation.
Brilliant, absolutely. If you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be?
Oh, I would love a Labrador.
Oh, do you love
Yeah.
dogs?
I love dogs.
Yeah.
Just my building doesn't allow me to keep dogs. So, yeah.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
My superpower would be to just shut up every once in a while and listen. I struggle with that. I struggle with that. Sometimes I want to be in a room and I have so much to say and I want to say it all. And like, I really find it hard to just be quiet. Be quiet, Malvika. You don't have to speak all the time. Sometimes you can just listen and then the truth will be apparent. But then I can't keep my mouth shut sometimes. I have to speak every thought in my mind. I have to say everything. Like,
If you could relive one day of your life, which one would it be?
great question. Undoubtedly, it would be a day with my dad. So he had a stroke in 1996. So if I could go back to the day before that, I'd love to like meet him again as my dad before he got sick and just kind of remember what that was like. Yeah.
If you could witness one event in history, which one would it be?
Interesting. Because I've been recently reading all this Indian writing from 1947, and it's heart wrenching to read some of these stories sometimes because it's really painful. But I would love to be in the room when those decisions about partition were being made, and to be on the streets and hear what that was like. And I mean, it of course would have been traumatic and gory in many parts, but I'd be interested to see that in real time.
Oh my God! I think my hair is already standing up. Like what that day would have been like, right? So it'll be very gory. Maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's like this so many things happening at the same
Yes.
time. A new country kind of taking shape, two new
Making
countries
of
taking
history.
shape,
Yeah.
moving of people, families being torn apart, families being brought together. It would have been such an interesting time in the history of the country. And just because I'm reading that book right now, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. And
thinking
my
about
Nana
it.
ji tells a story of how they had to run away from one area in Pakistan and like move to India, and how they left half of their family behind, and it was,
You know, Rima,
yeah.
speaking of that, we were reading a piece by Manto in class the other day, and I asked the kids, what do you know about partition? These are all Indian kids, yeah? Right here in our class in JLT. And they didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, my God, this all your grandparents went through this. Your great grandparents had to pack a bag one day and just move to another part and leave everything behind. But we don't tell our children about our own family's histories and like what that meant, what the word partition meant to our family. I think that is so important to do.
Absolutely. And I think these are Dubai kids. So I always have this chat with my husband, right? Our kids are growing in a bubble. They're growing
Really, they
in
are.
such a safe. We give them so much safety, security, and by virtue of being in Dubai, right? They are so protected. And so looked after. I miss the bachpan. Like, what my bachpan was is different than what my kids' bachpan was.
Absolutely. And you
Right?
ask your kids
Yeah.
about Trump and Republicans and Democrats, they'll give you lots, but they
Really?
don't know
Yes.
about their own partition, about the
No.
millions of people who had to shift
No.
home and base and identity and country and everything overnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
it's
that's
sad,
a part
yeah.
of history that I think they all should know and learn from, and there's so much to know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. Moving on to our next question, and the last one. If you could ask one question to anyone in the world, what would it be, and to whom will you ask?
I don't know about one person, but I think my question would be to like all of the world leaders, right? Is like, how can we give every child the opportunity at greatness? How can we give every child equal opportunity to greatness?
Wow.
And if somehow we can answer that, if we
Yeah.
can get 3 answers from 3 people and implement those 3 answers, bas.
Oh, the world would be a much better place, honestly, with so much opportunities for every kid growing up.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's been amazing. You've totally won our hamper. So I should
you.
hand it over to you. We call this the Women of Wonder hamper.
Oh, thank
this
you.
is for empowered and ambitious women like
Thank you.
who are inspiring everybody.
I don't know an unambitious or unempowered woman, to be honest. So I think
There you
every
go.
woman I've ever met is
Yes.
empowered and ambitious. Now, whether the world actually allows her to breathe or not is a different matter, but
That's absolutely true.
lovely. Thank
Brilliant.
you so much. It's beautiful.
My pleasure. I'd love to finish this show on a very positive message. We have a lot of Indian women in UAE watching this show. A lot of them take inspiration from you every day, look up to you. What are your words of wisdom for them?
My words of wisdom, actually, words of wisdom is like, I think actionable steps is my way to go. Okay, number one is if you can book a solo trip, take some time out for yourself. If nothing else, just to tell yourself and the world, ki nahi, this year I'm prioritizing me. Okay, like this year I'm going to do what I want to do. Second thing is that if you are starting a business, and I know a lot of Indian women in Dubai are on the fence right now. They're like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not? Okay, let me jump. Just jump. Just do it. Do your math. You can do it. You're good with numbers. Don't say you're not good with numbers and you can't manage a business. You are raising children. That's way harder
Yes.
than managing a business
And you're budgeting at home every day.
all the time.
Yeah, all
So
the time.
just do it, just jump, take it on, take on that business, but stick with it, persevere. Your business cannot exist only when your kids don't have exams and only when your husband is not busy at work. And no, it's your business. Take control of your finances, take control of your bank accounts, keep your money safe, keep it separately. Like prioritize you in every sense of the word. And stick with it, stick with it and ask for help. Reach out. There's a community of women who will jump to help you if you just ask. Don't presume that you're not going to get help.
Well, that's brilliant. It's been lovely talking to you. And I am sure your words of wisdom, your advice to women, I think I would encourage all the Indian women watching this show to follow it. Just go with your heart. Take that step. And I think you will really enjoy. If you liked our episode, please like, share, or subscribe to this channel. And let us know in the comments what you thought about it. We'll be back very soon with another wonderful episode. Thank you.